Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith, and we're back here on the Rutland again. All right, I think this is, let's look under the old girl's apron, part 11. I hope I'm keeping this squared away. All right, this is an episode that quite a few comments, quite a few viewers are stating that they can't wait till I get to this part. And what we're going to do today is we're going to align the headstock to the bed of the lathe. First, we're going to check it. We're going to see where it's off. And I've already had, this is a test mandrel. And I'm pretty fortunate. I was sent this test mandrel from Mark Amundsen. And he said, you know, all the work that I'm going through, he says I'm going to want to check it and verify it. So he loaned me this. He sent it. I'll be sending it back as soon as I'm done with it. Thank you very much, Mark, for sending this. This fits the taper. There's a more. I think this is a number 4 or number 5. I forget what it looks like. Looks like a number 5. Actually, it probably says on the box in here because he's still. This is a Starrett tool, I believe. No. But it's not a Starrett, but it's a red box, that's why. Morse taper 5. Okay, Morse taper 5. And then this is a straight shank here. And that's about 8 inches. Alright, we've already cleaned this out. We just knocked this out. There we go. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to set up 2 indicators on the carriage. Now that we have the carriage, which... I've been drooling since yesterday when I got this together. This is almost coming one day after another here as it gets close to Christmas. This is Christmas Eve, by the way, if nobody knows, and I'm not sure when I'm getting this out, but this is Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to everybody. And not a creature stirring, not even a mouse, except for old Keith out in his shop. He can't keep his hands off his machines. I don't know, there's some kind of song in there somewhere. So I'm going to take these 2 indicators and I'm going to set one up horizontally and I'm going to set one up vertically. And then by rolling the carriage back and forth, we will be able to tell which direction the headstock is pointing. Hopefully it's pointing straight down the bed of the lathe there, and everything is kosher. But we may have to adjust it, and I'm going to bring you in close so we can explain. We have 4 bolts that actually bolt the headstock down. 2 of them are in the front, 2 of them are on the back side. There are 2 push-pull adjustments forward and aft, meaning spindle end, back side end on the far end behind where the motor mounts. And that's why I'm doing this now before we get that motor in for the final installation. And then I wrap up on the wiring, and then we'll just about be ready to flip the switch on this lathe again. Alright, so let me bring you in close to look at the mounting bolts that we're going to be loosening and tightening, and the adjustment that we're going to be moving to straighten this out. Now, to move it side to side has got the jack bolts, but to move it in the vertical plane or the height plane, that would have to be done by scraping, just like you scrape the ways to fit over here. You'd have to scrape or shim. Shim would be, that would be the lesser of the 2. It would be the cheap way out. I'm not gonna bullshit. That would be the cheap way out. Scraping it so that you have hard metal to metal contact and creating that straight line would be the ultimate alignment in that. Alright, so let's we're going to get the indicators on here, and the first thing we'll do is we'll sweep into that, then we'll go into the fasteners, and then we'll go into the adjusting, and then we'll start moving the thing around if we need to. Alright, so basically I'm just taking 2 indicators. I'm going to put one on the side of the tool post here, and I'm going to try to get the pointers straight across from each other so that I'm only moving this back and forth the same amount at a time here. And I'm going to shoot for the end here, 1/4 inch in. Now I can run, by putting it on the side of my tool post here, I'm able to slide this up and down, and by the amount of travel in and out, I'm actually able to see meeting that high on this side. That tells me I'm pretty well in line with split line, as close as I need to be. Alright, now this one here, I'm going to bring down, and I'm going to put it down on the top, and then I'm going to swing it side to side, and it'll give me the high and low there, and that'll tell me where I'm exactly center line that way, within reason. Of course. Okay. Yeah, that looks straight up and down. That's tight. That's tight. Okay. Like a height gauge, we just kind of like slide this back and forth. Right there looks good. Okay. Now we can set this here at 0. I'm going to bring you in close so that you can read this. Yeah, I think you can read this. And we're able to go all the way in. We're not, our indicators are able to travel. Okay, excellent. Let me bring you on in. Okay, they're pretty close to 0. I'm not gonna, well, okay, a little bit there. All right, 0. Here we go. We're gonna crank her on in. Okay, and that one reads about 1.5, and this one here is reading about -3. Now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this around. We just want to see if we have any run out on the mandrel. When we first put the mandrel in there, it actually showed us that we had dirt in the bore, and we kind of had to clean that out, and then I just wanted to double check just to make sure. Alright, now I'll go ahead and I'll re-zero this indicator here, and re-zero this indicator here. Alright, even Josh tapping them around there, they're pretty well holding right there to 0. Okay, and we're -2 there, and we're +2 here. Alright, now we're going to rotate this around, and we do have a little bit of run out here on the end of the mandrel. That's almost 1,000ths on that end there, and we got about 1,000ths here as well, showing us that the end of the mandrel is running out slightly. All right, so we're going to bump it out, and we're going to clean it again. Okay, we popped her out, blew in there, cleaned her out a little bit, put it back in, and I'm getting about 1/2 thousandth, 3/4 of a thousandth to run out. That's about as close as we're going to get. We're going to just go with that. Okay, and we'll go ahead and we'll roll this over here and show that those are really staying true. These aren't tenths indicator, but they, you know, we're just holding it to that plus or minus, you know, our 1/2 thousandth or whatever we can see on the indicator here. All right. So we know by setting these at 0 and coming back out here. Oh, didn't mean to move you. Okay, we're plus out here. That means the headstock is twisted towards the front side of the lathe, and we're plus here, so it actually is showing that we are pointing up in the air slightly. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our mounting bolts, and we're going to loosen those up slightly so that we can jog it around, and we're going to go to the adjusting bolts, and then we're going to slide it side to side, and then we're going to retorque the thing down, and we'll recheck what we have. Okay, because we don't know the tension or anything else on those bolts. We haven't checked that out at all. Okay, while we're up here on top and at this level, you can see this bolt and this bolt here are your forward headstock bolts. and this is the base of the lathe that's even with the bed, and then this is the top of the box here. This is the flange sticking out from the gearbox, the spindle box, the headstock. And so we're going to be loosening these two bolts, and then let me take you to the rear and we'll take a look at those two bolts. Now I have a little napkin in here, and most of you made the comment, and I just dabbed right there. This is my second leaking bolt, and when I was doing a video and we were talking about on the back side here and I was filling in there, you could actually see the drip hanging from this, and this has been sitting in here since that day. And it really hasn't soaked all the way through the bottom here, but it's gotten the first couple layers really wet. And I don't really know what's going to happen when I loosen these bolts up. But the reason why I didn't fix this leak there is because I wanted to wait until after I'm certain where the headstock's going to be, and then I'll seal that bolt at the final. But when I pull that out, I hope it's just a weeper like the other one and not a drain plug for the gearbox. All right. So these are the two aft bolts that we'll be bolting or loosening and then retorquing. All right. Now let's look at our adjusting bolts. All right. We're at the back of the lathe here. I got my cables. Okay, it's out of the way if I hold it like this. So you can see that there's a pair of adjusters here, a pusher and a puller. And there's a pair of adjusters back here, a puller and a pusher. All right, now what we're going to do, we got the Allen wrench here, and we really haven't loosened anything up, but we want to go ahead and try to go ahead and see if we get any movement out of these adjustments before we tighten down or loosen up any of the headstock. I know we got everything kind of like painted here, and we haven't really checked any of the torque on that. But we do want to see if we can get that to move without breaking everything loose. Then we are doing a true slide in its position that it's at right now. And I think instead of loosening and unbuttoning everything all up, I want to see if I can actually get it to move, because we're only talking about pitching that thing about a thousandths and a half side to side, and if we can torque down on the front, or to get that to angle down a little bit, we'll be making up some ground by not breaking everything all loose. So I'm gonna go ahead, and the very first thing, I know that we need to come this way, and this is the jack screw or the push screw, and I'm actually gonna, there's pain in there, so okay, I got it in. So I'm going to give it a little tension here. I'm not putting cheaters on here or anything else. I'm just going by hand. All right, and pulling a little bit on that. I'm going to release a little bit on this one. Okay, I got it to move about a half a thousandths there. And on this one here, I'm going to want to tighten it and loosen this off a little bit. All right, and it moved about a half thousandth there. If I can get another half out of here, okay, I got that dial to come down to 1.5. I want to sweep it back and forth now and see where I'm at. I'm just bringing some tension on both of these here so we know that it's holding. Okay. All right, I'm going to go around and roll that back and forth. Okay, we cranked it back and forth, and we took about a thousandths out of our travel. And we're getting too tight here now we're not tight there, but we're tight on the push here, and we're tight on the pull there. So we are going to go ahead and crank loose our hold down bolts, and I'm going to find the right wrench to do that. Okay, I brought you back up here because you know what those tensioners look like down underneath there, and you know what I'm going to be doing underneath. I went ahead and I set back to 0, and I just wanted to show you where we're at here. All right, we're at like 1.5 here, so really if we got that down another thousandths, we'd be just about where we need to be. And this one right here is still reading high. I'm going to go ahead and break loose these rear bolts here now. This is the one that was leaking, that was on the left. And this is the one on the right. Okay, they're backed off. The one on the left doesn't seem to be leaking any more than it normally does, and all right, I broke that one loose. There we go. These were really tight. The ones on the back were really loose, or not really loose, but somewhat loose. All right. Now, as soon as I loosen that one up, that needle radically moved side to side. And up and down, we went up to 5. Okay. My scenario that I was talking about looks like it's going to be what we're going to have to deal with. Okay, here's the right wrench right here. Okay, adjusters, I mean, they work really well when things are loosened up. That was the pusher. On the front. All right, we brought that back to 0. And that's like plus a half. And like right at 0. Okay, but this is what I'm telling you. Let's go ahead and let's tighten this down now. I'm gingerly, in fact, I'm gonna get it slightly tightened on both of these. Back and forth. Okay, they're starting to snug up, so I want to sweep this again. Yeah, it did come back. That came down a little bit. This is still maintaining 0. All right. 0. 0. Okay, that's 0. That's plus 2. Okay, I'm going to sweep this. Remember, this is still running out a little bit. This goes down below 0, 1, and then up to 0 there. So we're within a half a thousandth side to side, and we're still within 2 up and down. I mean, that's only a half a thousandths run out on that. All right, let's see if we can crank down on the front again. Some more. Okay. I'm going to go ahead. I want to push it a little bit to the plus side here. I'm going to draw in on the front here. Yeah, I want to when I spin it out here, I want it to split the difference of my 0 that was up close to the spindle. I think that's just going to be plain and simple as it is. Okay, I'm splitting the difference of the 0 right there. Let's crank it back to the headstock. Towards the headstock, I should say. Another 0. Staying at 0. Going down 1 and back up to 0. Okay, we're a little bit on the high side now. Let's bring her on back because I think that's where I needed to go. Okay, 0. Okay, I like that. I feel I'm within half a thousandths on side to side. Now the side to side is more important than the vertical, because I'm worried about making a face cut against something that I'm holding in a chuck. And if the side to side is true, that as true as your side to side is, will be the trueness of the face that you cut. Up and down, it will give you a center line difference of your tool bit going along the bore for however much it's out. That's how much your tool bit center height will change. If it's minute amount, it will make very little difference on the size of the bore, but it will make a slight bit of difference because of the tool bit height. And if you're slightly above or slightly below the center line, that does vary. When you get right down to the nitty gritty, it will make a bore size change, but ever so slightly. All right. Now we're gonna get our breaker bar, because we want to go ahead and we want to try to get a little bit more on these front ones here and try to bring some of this height out of here. So we spun this around and we see that we are really close on that up and down there as well. And I got my little breaker bar here and my aluminum cheater, and we're just gonna give it just a little cinch. There we go. I'm gonna have to repaint those bolts, which is no biggie. Okay, that thing is just like moving a thousandths right there, and the same with this. Only getting about a thousandths, but I'm splitting the difference. So we're going to come back over here and we're going to set both at 0 again. Zero, 0. And we're plus 2 there. We're right at 0 there. It drops down to 1, up to 2. All right, let's torque down just a little bit more. It only goes so far before hit that mag base there. So of course these are 6-sided sockets, so I have to flip the, there we go. Okay. I think I'm going to have to live with that. I'm not going to be pulling my headstock off and scraping it. So I'm about 1/1000th off, up and down on the top side. And I'm dead nuts on the run along the side, which will give me a nice straight face cut. Getting a true face cut is really the most important thing when you're coming in and you're doing any machine work, especially when you're holding things freely without running them between centers and things like that. You can do a lot of compensation through a lot of machining operations, but sometimes when you got to chuck up on something and create a straight face, you need to have that headstock running true with the lathe bed. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull or snug down on those rear bolts and look at how much the deviation I might have with my reading. I'm going to crank this back out to the outside here, and I'm just going to set that indicator at 0. Okay, that right one is all tight. The left one that's leaking, I'm tightening it down now. Okay. I'm going to live with that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull out that bolt and we're going to reseal those threads and tighten those up. And I'm going to double check and make sure the adjustments side to side are locked down and they're not going anywhere. You can see, look right along here, because I loosened that up and then we re-torqued this down. So we actually squeezed some oil right out of that crack right there. And I don't know if both of them were leaking. I know that this one here was leaking, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this one out, and then we're going to wipe it out, wipe it off, and we're going to seal up the thread. We're going to put it back in, and then we're going to do the other one there as well. There's no, we're here, we're doing it right now. Okay, I don't, for how loose that is, I would really be seeing, well, I would be seeing oil right there. Okay, that's like a drain plug. Are you serious? Are you serious? Okay, so I got to get a funnel. And a way to catch that oil, because I need to pull that all the way out to goop it up, otherwise it's not gonna. All right. That's a flat out drain right there. Okay, I got one of these containers, but I might have a couple more. These are Folgers 1 gallon or one. Actually, they're not 1 gallon anymore. Shoot, they're only. Oh, they go by 27.8 ounces. All right. I took a piece of flashing and like a funnel, fold in the corners, so that because I need to get it up in there, okay, and get it up past. I gave it a little bit of a groove here. Keep a hide side here. All right, and here we go. We're just going to be. We may have to hold somewhat in place till we drain all the oil that we just filled into this case not too long ago. Okay, that's a straight thread, folks, with no lubrication. There's no O-ring. There's no okay, now that's not a pour, okay? Well, I mean, it is a pour, right? We may have to grab another container here. Okay, we're gonna grab another container. We got our next one here cleaned out, and we'll swap this out. And we'll put the lid on this. We don't want that oil to get dirty. All right, let's go for another container full here. That washer's kind of curvy too. We got one more container out there, and I think I'll go get it. Yeah, if you got a drip like that and it's dripping a couple drips there, that could leak for, oh shoot, a year or two. All right, here's another one. I've been holding these for a while because I haven't, you know, when you get coffee on sale, you never find this dark black silk, bold yet smooth. One of my favorite coffees. But it is hard to find it when it's on sale. You get those other ones there, the mild, the medium. I drink my coffee black too. No sissy stuff in it. Oh no, come on. All right. You think it's staying in there. If you let go and walk away, what's going to happen? You're right. That thing's going to pop out of there. Okay. Excellent. All right. We're going to let that drain going to take a little while. And we're going to look at this bolt. And we're going to see what we can do about washer. And that surface is not that surface is not square. Okay, so I think Permatex is probably going to be the only thing that we'll be able to screw in there added to the threads that's going to create any kind of a seal. You can see that that washer is dipped and bent, and this goes up and underneath, so the hold down holes aren't even, they don't have a flat surface to land on. That's a rough casting in there. Well, we know where the drain plug is now. Okay, we come back to this. We've let it sit here for several hours, and it's down to where it's just drip. And in a couple minutes we go by and we get another drip. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and seal this container up. Bring this over here to the side, and we're going to go ahead and take this tray here. And we're going to set this rag up in here. There we go. And all right, I'm going to trade this rag out. That thing's sticking to my hands all the time. And all right. Not really much we can do with this bolt here. This washer is a little munged. Looks like it's been pulled in and out a couple times. That's a sharp edge that sits on right there. Okay, and go grab a Q-tip. Okay, just as before, we can just get up in the hole here. And we're just soaking up as much oil as we can there. We're not going to get it all, but we can. We went ahead, we blew this off of the air nozzle while we were in the other side there. And here again. We'll put some up in there, put some on the end, and some all the way around on this bolt here. And okay, we ran out of film as we were tight, but we went ahead and finished up. We gooped this one up, torqued it down, and then we went ahead and dropped this one down. The Q-tip went up. Just, I mean, I never did find the bottom of the hole. So I went ahead and I sealed that one up as well. That one wasn't leaking through the threads, but this one here was. So both of those are gooped up, and then we torqued those down, and we kind of wiped up our area here. We still have some oil that we'll probably scoop up down here from when we opened that thing up, and that poured out. All right, so I want to go ahead and take you up, and we're going to take a final look at where I'm going to settle for the alignment we have now. Before, I had the carriage all the way up here at the front, and then I had my indicators here real short. I said, well, hey, let's go ahead. This is on the gap. Okay, let's just take and go from this end of our solid bed and follow the indicators out here so that our full travel is on the bed of the ways and not on the gap, because I had a question on whether the problem would be in the gap. Side to side, and I mean, I feel good. I put my indicator here and I dialed that in and everything else, but it does take us a drop in there, and that gave us the false reading here. So I'm going to bring you over here so you actually get to look at these indicators right here. Almost went off the edge here. Okay. I was rolling it over so that I had it going halfway above and halfway below zeros on both of those indicators. Okay. And then running it up here and running it back here. Okay, and look, see, the needle does move. See it? All right, I'm happy with my alignment, and it was very much worth doing this. And Mark, I thank you very much, and I will package this mandrel and get it sent right back to you. I've got this done, and it was well worth it. And thanks for being patient with me, and but I finally took care of it. All right, I'm super excited, and I'm ready. Now I can go ahead, and the next thing we do is we're going to get the electric motor mounted back up there, get all the gears back on. I got the rest of that stuff over here on the back side here. We're going to get the electrical done and get the panel. I also have a new on and off switch with a new light, so that should be adding in there. And we're going to be making our own labels for our indicator lights and our jog button there. All right, until next time, get her done.